So, with at long last, patch 4.2 and all the new content, we have a full understanding now of what we are getting with the updated Shadows of Chains. Now let's get this right off the bat. Shadows of Chains 4. At launch, abysmal. One of the worst DLCs. Like, the only DLC I would consider worse than it at launch was probably, like, the Blood DLC. But, like, that, at the very least, that was only $3, and this one's $25 for basically nothing. So, I digress. Today, I'm going to do the math to figure out if this DLC is worth $25. And I'm also going to compare it with the last quote unquote, like I'm going to compare the Shadows of Chains DLC to, in my opinion, the last DLC, one of the last Warhammer 2 DLCs where it was not a race pack, but it was an expansion pack for two factions. And I'm going to be using the Twisted and Twilight, which is, it's the Skaven High Elf, right? Alariel, yeah, and Thrall. So we're going to compare it all with it. And the one thing I will have to consider here with the math is, remember that, everything, inflation, all that in the past 4 years has gone a little bit crazy, but we'll save that for last. So let's start with, what did they add? Because Shadows of Chains at launch, terrible. So we have a nice comparison chart that they made. So in the end, what we are getting is, we're still getting 3 legendary lords. We got 2 more legendary heroes, 2 more generic lords, 2 more generic heroes, 6 new units, so that's 2 for each faction, 2 more units for each faction, a magic lore, and another free legendary character. So 14 pieces of new content, they say. But of course, some things are more valued than others, obviously. In terms of what I think is the most valuable, I think everything has been improved upon, yes. And I do also like they're getting a new magic. I do think some DLCs have done. I know race pack DLCs have definitely done that, but I don't know if there was ever a general DLC that updated existing factions that added new magic. I'm not sure about that. So it's pretty cool to get all that. Now, in terms of what we're getting, I think let's start with the legendary heroes. Obviously, they're the big standouts. Just like the Blue Scribes, we have Zaytang, the Sentinel of the Sky, and we have the Golden Knight. Both are pretty good. They're really cool. And since any Kislev or Cathay or Tzeentch faction can get their legendary hero, it's cool. I'm okay with that. Then we have the 2 generic heroes, which for Tzeentch was the melee hero, and for Cathay was the Gatekeeper. So 2 defensive heroes. We got the Drukinza for Kislev for a Lord, which is pretty good. Oh, goddamn, I just deleted that. We have the Drukinza hero for Kislev. And then for Cathay, we got the Gatemaster for Cathay, and then a melee Lord for Tzeentch. Yeah, so overall, that in our guard, it's good. But is it enough? That is the ultimate question I have to decide. I speak for the I need to figure out if this is worth $25, because obviously it was not worth $25 before, definitely not. And the question is now, is it worth $25? So let's first compare this to the Twisted and the Twilight. Now, in this DLC, it's $10. It was $10 at launch. It still is $10 today. We got... This is the right DLC, right? Oh, sorry. It wasn't the High Elves. It was Wood Elves and Skaven. Okay, so Wood Elves and Skaven. It was 2 legendary lords, 4 units for each, right? We had Spellweaver, Zotes, Greystaff. She has 4 units for each, so 8 units in total. And 3 regiments of renown. Now, regiments of renown is not a big deal. We also got Gorich, which is a legendary. And also 2 legendary heroes. So in the end, it was 2 legendary lords, 2 legendary heroes, 8 units, and 3 regiments of renown. But you also have to remember that it also brought race updates with the factions. which is something that Kislev, Cathay, and Tzeentch got nothing. They got jack shit, okay? And then you also have to consider that it's only $10, and so it's a 2.5 times increase. It is a 250% increase from this deal, from this to Shadows of Change. Now, if we do just basic math, and even if I just say it's $20 and I multiplied what we got for Twisted and Twilight by 2, we would get, while we would probably get the same amount of units, we get 16 units, 6 Legend of Renown. So in some regards, they matched it. The problem is, this seems like it's definitely better priced, but I think the best price for it would be $20. $20, that's a good price, because if I do just the basic math of it, from the Twisted and the Twilight, which had 2 legendary lords, 2 legendary heroes, 8 and 8 loots, 3. I'm not even gonna count Red Jupiter now, because 9 is a good amount. That would affect. So, in order for, if CA, let's say hypothetically, CA was a nice company, like, oh, we're going to increase the cost, but we're going to increase the content at the same rate. We would need 4 legendary lords, 4 legendary heroes. We would need like 20 units. We would need a couple more heroes. We probably need like 4 heroes, So overall, in the end, while this is still a great improvement, it's still more for slightly less, I'm afraid. Now, that being said, though, I am 100%. Now, let me just say this first. The content here, now with all this updated stuff, is good. I think most of these units are good. Cathay got some late tier monster units that it direly needed with the Celestial Line and Bird. His name is Burp, all right? He's my favorite Burp, all right? Tzeentch got a Lord and Hero that they absolutely needed, and they got some lower tier units. They're not high tier. Like, Centaur is probably tier 2, tier 3, and okay, this is probably a tier 4, but it's not like the Mutalith Vortex, which was like a Doom stack, right? And then Kislev, they got a tier 1 unit. I mean, they said it's the cheapest units in the entire game, but that doesn't mean I want. Now, look, as much as I would want tier 5 units that destroy everything in their path, we still need to consider some of the lower tier units, The Cathay before this, they got Crowman, which is a tier 2, I think, maybe tier 3, and the Lions, which are both tier 3, and the War Drum. That one's kind of shit, right? Tzeentch got all the great units, and Kislev got outside. They got some good units, but they needed more variety. There needs to be some low tier units, some mid tier units, and some high tier units. And I think with this new update, that accomplishes it. Each faction got some low tier units, some mid tier units, and some high tier units that will improve the game and add more content. Because I actually think this is one of the best ones here, because this is a unit very early in the game that Kislev needed. I was saying Kislev needed some infantry unit early in the game, and this is perfect. It's an anti-large, possibly armor-piercing frontline troop that's cheap, and that's very fitting for the game. I also said they needed a late game, and look at this. They got the Frostworm, which, yes, looks like a salamander from the Lizardman that's a bit reskinned, but it still can't be cool. It still does look cool. And, of course, we do get free LC, which a free mount, I mean, that's cool, but, like, this is something that people wanted for 2 years. It took them 2 years to make. This should have been in the game at launch, but whatever. And we have a nice little comparison here. So this is what it was before the update, and this is what it is now. Now, obviously, that's a very nice improvement. I'm not denying that. But if this should be a $20 DLC. If this was a flat 20, and then they do a deal, like, I kid you not, I guarantee you, a lot would be forgiven. Like, we're sorry, we fucked up. We're going to add all this new content. We're going to reduce the DLC to 20. And for the first week after we relaunch it, it's 20% off. Now, as I said before, I do not think this is worth $25. This is $20. And when the DLC launches, I am 99% certain that they are going to put it on sale. Like, it is very, very likely that the Shadows of Change DLC will go on sale. And when it does, it'll probably be 15, probably 10%. It won't. I don't think it'll be 20. And then I would say, yeah, it's a good buy. Because the real question is now, will this... Because this DLC was hated at launch. And yeah, we got some mixed reviews because that's probably just people like, oh, they're going to fix it, guys. Don't worry. Think about it. We haven't had a DLC in 6 months. Was it September, October, November, December, January? It took them it's taken them 6 months. We haven't had a DLC in 6 months because they've had with all the shit show that's been happening there. Everyone getting laid off, unfortunately, because they fucked up with hyenas. It's a real disaster here. So they fixed it, all right? They've set the precedent. This is what it's going to be going forward. So you somewhat rectified Shadows of Chains. Not really. People are still pissed at you, but whatever. You added more and you said, oops, we fucked up kind of shit, whatever. The real question is now, what's going to happen to Thrones of Decay? Because that is the one everyone looked at and said that one's going to be the best one because that has the Empire, the Dwarves, and Nurgle. All three races that people... Well, I don't know anyone who likes Nurgle, but like Empire and Dwarves, people love those. And Nurgle is dire need of a rework. So if you mess it up again, you're like... you might go bankrupt. I don't know. And also, the chart doesn't say this here, but Thrones of Decay will get a legendary lord. So they're adding back the free legendary lord, which is good. And my guess is it's Boris. Now, as for predictions for that, that's another video for another time as for what that DLC is going to be. But overall, it's improved. This is what it should have been at launch. All right. If you want to say, oh, these inflation, we have to raise prices, fine. But this had to be what it was at launch. You cannot expect people to pay $25 for all of this. It was pathetic. And people should still be watching CR, right? A lot of people are like, oh, everything's forgiven. No, we need to watch these assholes because the second they're going to try and drop back and drop the quality again, we need to fight back immediately. And that's the sound of it. Why are we fighting? Why can't they just give us fair price DLC? And now I know it's greed, but like it's just really annoying with the whole community, and we don't want the community and the company fighting. They should be working together. Here's to 2024. Don't fuck up Thrones of Decay, and for the love of God, give me my Crackadrak dwarves. I better be right about that. I really hope I am. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.